Carp fishing competitions have really dominated the carp fishing world over the last few years. And when it comes to prestige, one event stands out above all the others. That event is the British Carp Angling Championships. Now 17 years old, we're here at RK Leisure's fantastic Wraysbury for the decider of the 2016 tournament. As far as carp fishing venues go, Wraysbury is an amazingly iconic venue. The history surrounding this place is second to none. It used to hold the British record, and under recent years it's undergone a renaissance, and it's really coming back to the forefront of carp fishing venues. Hence, the finals of the British Carp Angling Championships is now held here. At the beginning of the year, 336 anglers can enter this tournament, and they end up here. 17 pairs at Wraysbury for the finals. And my word, this year, it is absolutely the cream of the crop. Well, Sam, Andy, back now to defend the title. Let's talk about last year. It was your first time, not just in the Carp Champs, but actually in any carp angling competition, wasn't it?
Yeah, first time. Just for, didn't do it for a laugh. We obviously tried to take it seriously as we could, but never thought we was...
You put the effort in, don't you? And, you know, you put as much effort in as you can, but we'd never thought we'd get to where we got.
No, you see some of these names and you don't think you stand a chance against them, but when you actually fish them, you realise that they're just normal people, and they have mistakes, the same as anyone has mistakes.
Gents, you two are absolutely flying at the moment, aren't you? Wherever you go and whatever you touch, you seem to win.
Seems to be that way.
Is that luck going to carry on?
Hopefully, fingers crossed. We are very prepared for it, so we are looking forward to it. But again, same as any match, it only takes one bad draw to make it stop. So,
lads, back in the final yet again. What would it mean to you to win this for a second time?
Go on then, Rob, up to you. Well, I was going to say it'd be a dream come true, but that would be a bit of a cliche. But obviously, that's what us and 18 or 17 other pairs are all looking to do. So it would be great. It would be an awesome achievement.
What are your tactics going to be?
It's a weekend's fishing. Just take it as it comes and fish for a bite at a time.
Just another weekend.
It is. It's just another weekend's fishing. There's just no. You can badge it up how you want, but if you take it too seriously, I think you can ruin your own chances at catching.
And now the important draw for the 2016 finals of the British Carp Angling Championships. And this is a watercraft draw. Everybody's names are in canisters. And the first name to come out there is Kev Grout and Luke Church. And they've opted for peg 6, and they come forwards, take the next canister out, and another name will be called out. Rob Tuff and Matt Jones, a pair of former champions again. We spoke to the guys just before the draw, and they were looking forward to taking on some of the young guns in the Carp Championships this year. Rob on the right, Matt on the left. And normally the course of action is that people have got a list of all of the pegs that they would like. It should be pretty straightforward to pick the second one. They've gone for peg number 8. Rob will now reach into the bucket and pull out the third name to be drawn in this 2016 Championships. It's getting exciting now. The field will be quite nervous. They want to come out early.
Peg 12.
Peg 12.
Here is a pair that strikes fear into all of the competitors. Mark Bartlett and Kev Hewitt, England internationals. They've opted for peg 1, that's Kev Hewitt there. Peg 1 has fish in front of it, and it's a venue that Kev fishes pretty regularly. And here we have the defending champions, Stringfellow and Adams. The choice is a difficult one. Which peg do they opt for? There's smiles. There's a little look of nervous anxiety on his face there, and peg 3. And here they are, Carl Palmer and Callum Gutteridge. Peg number 13. Smiles, but a little bit disappointed at coming last out of the draw bag. They're right up against it now, but these boys will know what they've got to do. Never nice to come last out the draw bag. There's going to be a lot of people that are watching this thinking, well, last out the draw bag, that's it, it's going to be very difficult. And yes, it's right, but you've qualified from last out the draw bag or second to last out the draw bag already this year, haven't you?
Yeah, that was a gamble as well. We went into a bay, didn't fish it for the first day and a half. And just fed it until the time was right, and then pretty much clubbed him on the last night. So if we can do it on air, we'll be happy. But we know it's against us, but we'll just see what we can do.
Never give up, eh, Carl?
No, never. We'll try right to the end, see what happens. So, yeah.
Boys, great draw, and you're on a bit of a winning streak at the moment.
Yeah, we're really happy with that, to be honest. First out of the bag's always very nerve-wracking, but obviously that's one of our favourite swims, so pretty happy.
How's the practice been?
Kev's been down 48. Didn't manage to have any luck, but it's about finding the spots, and hopefully we can find a productive spot and get a few fish under our belt. Really.
Yeah, definitely. There was fish caught from where we just drawn when I practiced. I know that's not a huge amount to go on, but it always seems to be a very productive area. And the nice thing about that swim is it's all close work. You can only fish 11 wraps, so whatever you do, you're going to hook the fish close in. So hopefully we can land.
More chance of landing as well.
Yeah.
Peg one now, and Kev Hewitt, Mark Bartlett. And Kev, Mark's in the water, just tell us what he's doing.
Yeah, the hooter went about 10 minutes ago so we can plumb in baits, and we fished this swim in practice, so I've got a nice spot out sort of 3/4 of the way to the island that we know of, and we noticed there's quite a few fish around to the left in short, so we just having a little lead about with a small lead, just trying to find a nice clear spot to fish in short at the moment, and that'll give us two different options, a long line and a short line. So he's just casting around, feeling for a drop. If he can't get a drop, he knows he's weedy. If you can get a drop, he then just slowly drags the tip back, and he's using braid, so it transmits through to the rod tip, so he can feel exactly what's on the bottom. If he gets a nice drop and a good drag back, you know you've got a nice clear spot.
And by a drop, you mean that the lead's actually making it to the bottom rather than just falling in the weed?
The lead hits the bottom and you get the clonk on the rod tip, and once we've done that, we then change to a little grip of lead to see if there actually is any weed on the bottom, and that tells you everything that we need to know about the swim.
What are you finding down there then?
There's a lot of weed, but there's a tiny patch of gravel. There it is.
That looked like it landed with a nice crack.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that's the spot. Yeah, so we've got one. I don't normally like to fish too far out in here because obviously getting them in is a real problem. But because always fish show out in that area, we've got to just sacrifice one out there, and if we land it, we land it. I mean, the weed isn't too bad. Some areas are not good. But that's why Lou's putting 2 rods down the margin. It's quite clear down there.
So, swim choice made?
Yeah.
Prep all prepped? I see a big bucket of bags by the side of you down there, and everything's ready to go?
Yeah, whether they'll get you, well, we're going to start off with bags and little bright baits and just see how we go.
You fished in this peg before?
No. Probably one of the only ones I haven't. So, but it's fishing, isn't it? We'll see how it goes.
And there it is, the start of the British Carp Angling Championships 2016. And we see just a very light lob, 4 wraps out from peg 3. The defending champions looking for a back-to-back victory. And a PVA bag. I was about to say he's launched them, but it's more like he's lobbed lightly just over the edge of the marginal shelf. They'll know there's a clear spot there. They'll know it's an area that the fish will be patrolling through. And the wind starting to pick up here at RK Leisure's Wraysbury. North Lake. You can probably hear the aeroplanes whizzing overhead. We're just not far from the flight path at Heathrow. And there's a reasonable amount of traffic in the air at the moment. Nothing caught as yet. The competition, of course, just starting now. And the big question is who will be first to land a fish. One rod in place. Peg 8 now, and Rob Tough, Matt Jones, and Matt's in at the moment, but it looks like it's tangled up in a bit of weed there, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing right now is with pressure, we're going to try and get it through the weed, and obviously if that doesn't work, we ask them to come out of the boat. They get above the fish with a line, we think, but it could be with a rod, we don't know, and then they hand pull it from directly above, which generally in weed frees the fish up. Really easily. Yeah, and then hopefully we'll play it from the bank after that. That's the plan.
So the boat rule in operation now in Peg 8. We see Dave Barlow, organiser of the British Carp Champs, at the front, just reaching over for the line, and one of the RK guys on the motor. Matt on the bank with the rod, and the rules are that the rod has to stay on the bank. And they'll just pull themselves along now and try and free that fish from the weed. So as soon as that's freed and the lads in the boat are directly above the fish, it will come up pretty quickly. There's a number of risks with this at the moment. Firstly, the boat's in a reasonably good position. It needs to be nose into the wind. So if ever you're in a position like this in the future, then you need to be nose in the wind and it will stop the boat swinging round. As soon as the line pings off and pings free, what will happen is the fish will move up towards the surface and move away from that weed bed. Now, if you're on the wrong side, if you're on the upwind rather than the downwind side, the chances are you could drift over the top of the fish itself. So the boat always needs to be on the downwind side going up towards where it is. And you see there, just that line lifted pretty quickly. It's pinging out of the weed, and the guys over there will know whether or not that fish is still on. This is an important moment. Any lost fish can have a dramatic effect, and one fish could be the difference between a win and missing out on a podium place. There's a reasonable amount of weed there. That may well be the leader knot of the rod. The fish is still on, and it looks like there's a chance they may well get this one in. It looked like it was all over to begin with. It looked like it was in fairly hefty weed, but it's come out, and a little bit of skill and determination means that it looks like that one is coming into the net. We see the first signs there of the fish moving just out in front of the net, and yes, it's in. That is a great result. So the fish now going on to the scales. We see that it's been zeroed and the fish is coming back in at a little over 16.5 pounds. Mark, the marshal, will confirm exactly what that weight is, and it's looking like around about 16.10. And the weight on that is confirmed at 16 pounds 10 ounces. Matt, Rob, fish on the board. First one of the finals this year, but a bit of a tussle with that one. What have you got out there?
Apart from the obvious, a lot of weed, a lot of drifting weed as well with the wind. It's quite a strong wind. It's the same with everyone. We're just trying to find some clear areas, you know, as sort of big as we can. Just leading, just trying to find some nice areas to fish to. The idea is to fish as close as possible to the swim, because if you do hook them, as we just realised, they will go in the weed. Further out you go, obviously, the more weed you've got getting back in.
Have you looked in the margins at all?
We have. I mean, we've got a couple of spots. We're going to bait one spot and not fish it until maybe tonight, tomorrow. But the margins, obviously, in Wraysbury are productive, so we're very aware of that, very deep as well. So it's definitely an option, but thank you for that if we hadn't thought of that.
Gents, one in a bag. Quite a sneaky one as well.
Yeah, just tucked down the margin, Rob, on the no fishing zone. We're aware there's a nice spot on the second buoy. Just dropped a solid bag down there, kept it quiet, we've bivvied right back. We know the fish are going to come in close here. Literally just, we put a couple of PVA bags over the top of it, just a light scattering. Picked up a bite, so just happy to be off the mark. And first fish, just a nerve settler really.
Boys, that was a good start.
Very good start, yeah. Very good start. 2 straight off, so it's a game on now.
First year that you fished together as a pair?
Yeah, first year, yeah. We done all right this year, qualified first on Brasenose 2 and then third at Walthamstow 2 and 3.
So great performance all the way through, and actually you've got a bit of a chance now as well. It's a good peg, this fish in front of you, 2 fish to prove that as well. Dan, you caught them both. Talk us through how.
Basically, Liam come down and fished a few weeks ago. That was a really good spot that he caught a few fish from practicing, and literally we just fished that spot. I mean, obviously we're over the moon, we got in a good swim anyway. We knew the spot, so we're straight into it. Just a bit of pin stiff rigs with some corn on. Just spotted a bit of corn and boilie over the top. Just literally sit back and wait. We knew the fish were out. There's loads of fish showing. And then literally we had obviously the one fish, just re-clipped the rod, put it back out, scrambling around trying to get it out of the clip, and the fish just like took it literally within seconds of hitting bottom. Just crazy.
Well, Liam's just dashed out a shot there because he's had a single bleep. He was on that like a shot. I don't think there's anything on. I think he's stuck in weed, but we'll just have to check on that. And this is one of the things when you're fishing in weed, you've got to be quick on them, haven't you?
Yeah, you've got to be really, really quick. You can't give them an inch, no. No, you give them an inch, they're buried in 15 foot of weed in this game over. You've got no chance.
Guys, it's just dropping dark now, and you've only just started fishing. Tell us what's the score with that?
Well, it's quite weedy out in front. Struggling for clear areas. We're not in the greatest of pegs with the lake draw. We know there's not a lot of fish out here at the moment, so we've found a couple of close in areas where we know if we get a bite we're going to land them. So we've kept it quiet, we've baited up, we've kept the rods out all day, rested the swim, and hopefully we've only got 2 rods out, but if we could sort of let the fish come in, keep it nice, quiet, stealthy, just pick them up one by one. So that's the plan anyway. Yeah.
Be an interesting night.
It will be.
Well, day one at Wraysbury is now more or less over. It's dropping dark, and joining me to talk about the proceedings of the day and also to look forward to tomorrow is somebody that's been here and done that and got the T-shirt. Chris Holmes, thank you very much for joining us here. Former British champion, England international. Been an interesting day today down here at Wraysbury, isn't it? Not so many fish and quite tough conditions.
It has been quite a tough day. A couple of the pegs that were expected to do some early fish have done them. The Styles obviously did fish early in the competition last year, but quite spread out. There is fish showing themselves all over the lake, and this is notoriously not the easiest of lakes to fish, but you know, we've got 6 fish on the bank now, I think it is, so yeah, it's not a bad start.
3 fish and 1 bite lost as well, to one pair in particular.
That's right, yeah.
And they're at the top of the tree at the moment, £48 an ounce, whatever it might be. We've got to do the mathematics, but that's a good lead at the moment. Everyone else just 1 fish.
Yeah, it is over everyone else, considering the fish that have been coming out tend to have been sort of the mid-double sort of range. There's a lot of fish in here over the £30 mark and quite a lot over the £40 mark, with fish potentially going over 50 as well. So, you know, it's a good start to the match with the way the fish are feeding and the way the fish are coming out and the size of fish. You know, it's... And they've come out from all over, Rob, remember that as well.
You know, day one is always a little bit interesting in these competitions, isn't it? Because the pressure of everybody fishing for them at the same time, it normally does knock them down a little bit. Yeah. Tonight will be telling. I think there's going to be fish out tonight.
Yeah, there will be, yeah. The lake gets rested for a few days before the competition, and of course all of a sudden these fish are going to be like, oh, what's going on, you know, there's not a lot happening, and you know, there's 17 pairs of anglers got onto this lake now and they've all hammered it and hit it hard. We saw the greenings, you know, that they've taken a different approach, kept it a bit quiet, you know, think hopefully the fish will move into the quieter areas.
Interesting tactic that, because you know in particular very well how good the margins can be here.
That's right, yeah, and it is an area that is always ignored. Recently there was another big match on here and the guys were persistent on fishing long, and it's a mentality that some people get that you have to fish long, and especially in Wraysbury, this venue does a lot of fish in the margins, and it's one place that people will ignore at their peril.
Well, I'm sure there will be some fish out the margins, but there's going to be a weather change tomorrow. It's
Yes.
been quite nice today. There's been a lovely southwesterly wind blowing. The weather conditions have been quite nice. It's not been hot, it's not been cold. It's been good carpy conditions, but actually we can feel it now. It's dropping, guys. The air pressure is dropping. There's going to be a bit of rain. I think that means that there'll be a lot more fish out tomorrow because they're going to be more settled. They're going to want a bit more grub. They're going to be down on the deck. They're going to be eating.
That's right, yeah. And the guys are finding it difficult to find areas to fish, but they have found them now. They're establishing them. They're getting a little bit of bait going in. These fish are, you know, they see everything. They've been fished for quite hard now for the past 2 or 3 years. Since when the competition was the year we won it, that was 2 years ago. That was when the lake initially opened. It's now fished very regularly. And these fish are used to seeing bait, and the guys aren't stupid. You know, you've got the cream of the crop on here, and they're not silly lads. And I know a lot of them really well. A lot of them we fish with the England team and stuff, and you know, I know that they know what they're doing, and there'll be some fish out tonight. I'm pretty sure of that.
There's a lot of bragging rights for this event, isn't there?
Is,
Whoever wins this is going to have a lot of bragging
I'm pretty disappointed
rights.
I'm not in it myself, Rob. We didn't enter this year, and I'd love to have been in here amongst these boys. Especially if you do well against them, there'll be a lot of bragging rights with each other. Yeah, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, it is going to be an incredibly exciting evening. That's all from us for the moment, but we'll be back in the morning to find out who's at the top of that leaderboard.
So here we are, Saturday morning, 7 AM, and last night we did have a few fish landed. There was 4 fish in total, and there has been some changes to the leaderboard. So let's head over and have a quick look. Still in the lead, first place, Dan Vallis and Liam Hodges, peg 12 with 3 fish, £52, 7 ounce. In second place, Lewis Swift and Jack Mayer in peg 3. They had 2 fish through the night, taking them into that important second position, £34, 5 ounces. 1 fish for third, Jack Stamp, Nick Longpree in peg 5. They've had 1 fish for £24, 6 ounce. In joint fourth, Rob Tuff, Matt Jones, Carl Palmer and Callum Gutteridge, both pairs having 1 fish at £16.10. They were the scores at 7 AM, but in true Wraysbury style, we're 5 past, and there has been another fish landed to Kev Hewitt and Mark Bartlett. So let's head round there, see the size of that, and see what a difference that's going to make. Second fish in peg 1 for Kev Hewitt and Mark Bartlett. So the scales have been zeroed. Fish is going to make its way into the safety of the sling. Stunning little Wraysbury common. But what's it going to do? It's the important part. The boys are on 2 fish now. First fish, just over £11. This one looks to be around the £14, £15 mark. Potentially putting them up into a 3rd place position. Currently in 3rd, we have Jack Stamp and Nick Longpree. Oh, it's done well. Just over £19.
Is that 19.6?
£19, 6 ounces. Puts them on a total of just over £30. Which will put them in 3rd position and a podium spot. Should it stay the same, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to. Another stunning little Wraysbury common, £19, 6 ounces. So peg 18, Carl Pitchers and Cliff Kemp have just hooked into their first fish. Guys just ensuring here that they don't get tangled up with their other rods. There's the first sign of the fish there. It's coming in quite happy now. Cliff's going to make his way out there very gently so as not to spook the fish. Looks like it over, it's in the net. Ah, there we go. A round of applause from everybody watching. It's always a tense moment. Well done, boys.
£12.
Marshall's doing their thing. Scales have been zeroed, fish will be lifted up onto the scales. Just over £17, the marshal's going to call it. £17, 6 ounces. First fish, Cliff Kemp, Carl Pitchers. So here we are in peg 5 with Jack Stamp and Nick Longpree. Interesting chain of events. They've got into what seems to be a very good fish. They've seen the fish on the surface. Could be one of the 18 possibly. But what's happened is they've got it caught with one of the other rod's lines. The bailiffs will come out with a boat just to check. It's not caught in the weed. They've seen the fish. They said it is a good fish. It's going to be a tough moment for these boys. You can see there the little bit of weed that's just covering the fish is keeping the fish nice and calm. So it's just going to come in nice and slowly. Jack will just keep the pressure on it. A bit further if you want, Nick.
Go out if you want to, mate. That's it. Lift, 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 lift.
Yes, Jackson.
That's in the net. Whoa. Big sigh of relief from them boys. So there we go. The boys have got that fish in the net. It looks to be one of the 18 from this lake. Not sure what fish it is now. They're going to get that all organised now and get it free. So here we are in peg 5, Nick Longpree, Jack Stamp. They've just landed an absolute unit of a mirror carp, a fish known as the unknown quite possibly. You can see the head on it there. It's nearly as big as young Nick. That's £37, 10 ounce, and that puts these boys into the lead. So here we are, halfway point at the British Carp Angling Championships down at Wraysbury. You can see the weather has arrived, the low pressure has moved in and the heavy rain has started, and it has brought the fish on. We've had plenty of fish caught this morning, including an awesome fish known as the Unknown at £37.9, caught by Jack Stamp and Nick Longpree. One awesome fish to have in a competition, but that shows that even the original fish in this lake have started to get their heads down and feed. On top of that, we've had fish caught by Mark Bartley and Kev Hewitt, and that has moved them up into second position by just 2 ounces. That's going to be a big blow for the guys over in peg 12. This competition really is anybody's game at the minute. With the big fish getting on the feed, you can jump from 6th position right the way up into the lead. So these boys are not giving up yet. There's plenty of fish in this lake and they're all ready to be caught. And with the weather being like this, I'm pretty sure they're going to. So here we are in peg 1, Mark Bartlett, Kev Hewitt. We've known sooner turned up to the swim. Mark's left-hand rod is away again. Mark just keeping his tip high there. Try and keep the fish away from any weed that may be in between the spot and him. Just keeping it nice and steady, taking his time. No point in rushing it. That's a fish and it's in the net. Boomtowns. £24 on the nose. They're going to be very happy with that, and that fish puts these two into the lead. We were coming around to talk to you boys because you'd gone into second place by 2 ounces, and the moment we stepped into the swim you've had another fish, £24. What are you doing?
Just fishing a steady match really. You know, we've practiced, we know the lake, and you've just got to kind of sit on your hands, set a trap and just sit on it and just wait. So we're not really proactive, we're not constantly spodding or recasting. Set a trap, make sure it's right and just leave it.
We're fishing for a fish at a time.
Hey, bite.
You know, we don't, well, yeah, fish at a time and we'll just take it as that. I mean, there's a bigger concentration of fish out in the middle, so we're going to be up against it, we know that, but we're ticking over.
Well, it seems to be working, boys, anyway. You're up into that all important leading position at the minute. Let's hope you can keep it.
Yeah, can we finish the match now? Cheers.
So here we are, peg 18. Carl Pitchers, Cliff Kemp. These boys have just had 2 fish on the bounce. Now with this competition being as close as it is, and with there only being a split of around £30 between 6th place and 2nd place, this fish coming into the net now, which looks to me to be a fairly decent fish, could really make the difference to these boys, especially as they've got another one in the sling. These boys are rocking at the minute. This is a very important fish for these guys. This fish will push these guys into 2nd place, just behind Mark Bartlett and Kev Hewitt. Onto the scales it goes. Goes round once. Oh, we go good way. 32 pound 13 ounces. That's going to give these guys straight into 2nd place. Boys, you just had 2 fish on the bounce. One being one of the A teams, single scale, the illegal, at £32. This has bumped you into 2nd place. How this competition is hotting up is incredible. What are we thinking?
Well, we were sat in the bivvy thinking we need to try and get some more bites, thinking of ways, but Wraysbury, being how it is, you have to just set your traps and be patient, and we just had 2 bites in 10 minutes, £47, and just bumped us into 2nd, so it's all to play for.
Nice, lovely.
End of the 2nd day, drawing to an end, Rob, and it's been a mega day, hasn't it?
It's been a wet one, and it's been an amazingly exciting one, and it's always good to see top-level carp angling matches going on because of the way the pack shuffles. And, you know, this morning you think, wow, those lads, they're going to be well away, that's it. And then the next minute it's like, actually, those lads look like they're coming in, and then suddenly these lads come in as well. And there's always a twist, isn't there? There's always a twist. The boys down the corner here, 1st and 2nd place, as long as they don't go mad and start chasing, as long as they sit on their hands, I think they're going to be all right. It will take a lot to push them out of the way. Precisely that. Who else is in the frame? Well, if Nick and Jack at that top end have another lucky one.
Another one of the good fish that they seem to be able to stamp down there. You've got to remember, on the other end of the island, Grout and Church, they've had a 31. The other end, yeah, they do. They hide behind Cigar Island, they know that they're safe there, make their way out, bosh, and they've picked them up. And that's what they've done. They could throw up a big surprise by the morning.
It's going to be exciting, that is for sure. So if anything exciting does happen through the night, we'll see if we can bring it to you. Otherwise, it'll be report time at first light. Well, the morning after the night before, and it is Sunday morning. British Carp Angling Championships final at Wraysbury.
Yeah, again, Wraysbury didn't fail to produce the other night. We've had Callum, Guttridge, Carl Palmer. They've had a couple of fish in the night, which has actually bumped them up into 3rd position.
Well, that's it indeed. That's knocking Nick Lomprey and Jack Stamp back out of the podium positions. But they've had chances. They've lost a couple of fish. They'll be gutted.
2 fish this morning, and the fish generally from the back of Cigar Island have been bigger fish, so they're going to be really gutted on those losses. They have lost one about 20 minutes ago, which means there's still fish there, which means they're again still well in contention.
Let's have a look. 2nd place at the moment. It's the guys behind us, just in this quiet corner down here. That's Cliff Kemp and Carl Pitcher. Now they've caught relatively consistently all the way through. They've had that bonus bigger fish as well, which has made a difference. But let's have a look at the race leaders, and that's Mark Bartlett and Kev Hewitt. Brilliant display of angling.
They have, Mark and Kev, what their area has done is they've kept producing, and they've just had this lovely slow trickle of fish. You know, they haven't had a period where it's been a long period without a fish. Every couple of hours, fish. Cavara's fish, and they've worked the swim really well, just gentle baiting, you know, that match style. Mark and Kev, both good match anglers sitting on the box.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
It's
yeah, and they've shown that. It's all to play for. There's a good 10 pairs out there that are really vying for a podium spot, and it's been a great competition so far, and I'm no doubt in my mind it's going to be a great finish.
Peg 18 now, and the morning provides more excitement as we look here at Carl Pitcher and Cliff Kemp.
Again, that little bay we were talking about earlier, Rob, isn't it?
Absolutely, this is the place that we think the fish do tend to like in the course of the day, and so it proves. It's in. Oh, is it in? It looks like it's in.
That's it, it's in, there we go.
Wow.
Another one.
Carl, anxious moments there, but that's one in the net, and it could be a really crucial fish for you, that one.
Yeah, we've just been sat here all morning. We had liners on one of the rods last night, but it didn't end up ending up in a fish. Just sat here thinking chances are looking a bit slim, and it's just rattled off from nowhere, and looks a half decent fish. Scrape a 20-pounder, I should think.
Looks close to it, doesn't it? It's a cracking fish, some of these Wraysbury fish.
Fish. Look at the scales on that. So you get this weighed up and hopefully have a chance of another.
So that's one step closer to Kev and Mark, but more to the point, it's one step further away from Callum and Carl.
Yeah, well, that's what we've been more worried about, who's behind us as opposed to who's in front. We just carry on doing what we're doing. If we can obviously catch Mark and Kev up, it'll be great, but we just want to get on the podium, to be honest, so we'll just keep going and hopefully we can nick another one.
£23, 5 ounces.
That's a nice fish.
Very valuable fish at this stage of the game.
That puts them £27 ahead of Callum and Carl.
Here we are in Pig 12 now, and the guys that started off, they've got one there. Very happy with that. That may well be the fish that puts them into third place. They were £69, 5 ounces behind Carl Palmer and Cal Gutteridge next door on 74. If that fish is £4 and 11 ounces, which it clearly is, then that will give them third place. However, as we speak, there is a fish being played in Peg 6. Jack Stamp and Nick Longpray have a fish on at the moment. Nick Longpray, we know, is playing it. They're on £62. So Peg 5 now, and this is where the drama continues. There is still everything to play for with an hour on the clock, and we see Nick Longpray currently into a fish. There have been problems in this peg already this morning, with fish just on the far side, not coming through the weed, but he's on it now. And it's progressed a little bit further than the last few have. A big ball of weed on its way in, and this is absolutely crucial, isn't it, Chris?
It is, mate, yeah. With that fish that Liam and Dan have just landed, that will put them onto a podium position. We're not sure of the weight of that fish yet. It looked to be a good double-figured fish. They only needed £5 to go ahead of Callum and Carl. Nick and Jack are on £62. So if this fish is the same sort of stamp of fish as they've been having, then there's a good chance that this could put them into a podium spot.
And a big splash there. The question now, how big is it?
Be careful with that.
Is it in, or did it go? You have to watch that cord at the front. We think the fish is in the net. There was a big splash.
Go on. Keep that net, keep the net up. Keep lifting that up. Didn't get out, mate.
And there's some confusion at the moment as to whether or not that fish is still in there. It was definitely there a moment ago.
Oh, it's in there. That's a tense moment for those boys, Rob.
Well done, Nick.
Here it comes, one of the most sought after fish, not just in the lake, but in the country. Just look at that, the darkness on that creature there. That's just such a good fish.
Last time it was out, it was weighed at just 38.5 pound. These guys are 39.7 behind second place.
So let's have a look and see what it is.
30.
It's 37.5. It's going to be in the region of 37.5. On that basis, that will take them to 99.5. 37.7, so that is 99.07. 99.07, that puts you on the podium, guys, in third place. Drama now in peg 12. Dan Vallis and Liam Hodges, we saw them early on in the competition. They were right up there at the top. The wheels came off a little bit yesterday, but they're well and truly back on, and it's been an incredibly exciting morning this morning. They've had 3 fish, 2 in very quick succession. One of them put them into third place for albeit the shortest of moments, as Jack Stamp and Nick Longpre managed to catch another one that popped them back down to fourth. But these guys have hit back straight away. They've caught another one now. It needs to be 17 pounds not to take third, but to put them into second place.
Got on, mate. 30 pound, 8 ounce.
30 pounds, 8 ounces. My word, that's a PB. What a stunning creature as well. Guys, 30 seconds now, you're in the lead at the end of the British Carp Champs. You are being chased very closely by 3 pairs. We've got now probably 20 seconds left. This could be the moment of glory. It's been a very tough ride for you so far, but you've been up there. I'm not going to ask you how you feel because I know how you feel. Let's just hang on.
Yeah, I mean, it's
10 seconds, mate.
10 seconds, we're just going to live this.
You've got to keep an eye on them.
Let's have a look. Before we can confirm it, we need to check. So the rule is, there we are, it's on. Let's have a look. Can we just check? Has anybody...
Check all the marshals, no one's hooked any other fish, have they?
We're just checking with the marshals now. No fish on peg 2. We know nothing on peg 12 and nothing on peg 5. Gentlemen, no peg on, that's it, congratulations, you are champions.
Yeah.
I mean, this weekend's been absolutely, it's been an emotional roller coaster.
You know, everything I've worked for all my life, something like this is what I've been working for. And to do it alongside my best friend who I went to school with, who I grew up with, who I fished with all my life. A lot of hard work's gone into this and I'm just pleased to be where we are on top at the end of it.
We know each other really well, and under pressure, when you're fishing a match as intense as this, you know, you need someone like that you just click with and that you fish really well with. And this year's our year, and we will lift that trophy as high as we possibly can.
In third place, with £101 6 ounces, a stonking fish, Cliff Kemp and Carl Pitcher. In second place, with £114 and 1 ounce, Liam Hodges and Dan Vallis. Finally, if we have to, our 2016 British Carp Angling Champions, Kev Hewitt and Mark Bartlett.
So the final standings, the last 2 fish to Liam Hodges and Dan Vallis, pushing Cliff Kemp and Carl Pitcher down into third. But Kev Hewitt, Mark Bartlett taking first place, £124 10 ounce.